Going on YouTube? It's your boy Cam ATL. Thank you guys for joining me. As always, make sure you drop a like down below because I already know you're gonna love it. Alright, we're back again with another LPL episode. We smashed in all our double ups last night. That is what I judge my wins and losses on. I didn't play any GPP, to be honest with you. Most of the time on 2-game slates, I will play majority GPP, so don't feel bad if you played GPP only and didn't really dabble into double ups yesterday. I just played double ups just because I just didn't have time to enter a whole bunch of stuff. So I just went ahead and did my single entry double ups as normal. Now, I do want to say single entry double ups is still the way to go regardless, okay? The only time you don't play single entry double ups is if the amount of people, like the contest size is super small. Like, if it's only 100, 200 people, then you don't really need to get involved with that, okay? But at this moment, with what's going on and us having a limited amount of sports, I mean, if it's 300 or more people, single entry double up, I think it's fine. You can join it. 2-game slates, I do like GPP a little more just because it's only 2 games. There's probably going to be a lot of ties and stuff. But you can differentiate just by having a different captain than everybody else. So we'll get into it. We'll talk about it. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. You guys know how I love to do. Just get in, get out. Let's go ahead and get a core of some guys and get you guys kind of on the right track. Now, first and foremost, I know all of you are thinking the same thing. DMO against V5 is probably the way to go. DMO is going to be my favorite team stack. V5, look, they could come back this year and be solid this year. Who knows? I'm not expecting it. That is why I'm down to stack against them. Now, every team that faced V5 last year smashed. Okay, V5 was one of those teams. They're like a gas can pitcher. Okay, you stack against them, period. Okay, so DMO will be the stack that I'm interested in. And when it comes to the DMO plays that I want the most, it's going to be Twila. Twila, Zhao Peng. We also have Helper, who's another very solid option for DMO. Natural. Like, those 4 are the main guys. Natural, Helper, Zhao Peng, if that's how you say his name, the jungler, and then Twila. Those are the guys that I'm most interested on for this DMO team, all right, for this slate. All right, but let's go ahead and get straight into it. With that said, when it comes to captain, I'm kind of down to pretty much 3 guys that I'm interested in the most, all right? Now, I like RNG. I'm choosing RNG over OMG. That's personal preference. RNG is the favorite. I do believe they should be able to get the W here. They're just a better team, in my opinion. I'm sorry if you hear my dog in the background. She always tends to start coming around when I start recording. But RNG is going to be the other team that I'm interested in going. It's just about getting the right pieces. Go, Bella. Go. Jesus, sorry. Anyways, RNG and DMO. So, when it comes to captains, okay, it's just all about roster construction, okay? So, like, a lot of people will be like, okay, DMO is my favorite stack. I have to have a DMO guy at captain. That's not necessarily the case, okay? You can play around with it, put different guys, put an RNG player at captain. Just mess things around. Now, obviously, you want a mid or an 80 carry majority-wise, okay? But there's been times I've put a support there if they're super cheap. There's been times I put a jungler there. So, it's not that big of a deal. But when it comes to my guys that I'm interested in Betty for RNG, Twila, or Zyhu, the mid for RNG. Those are the 3 guys I'm interested in for captain. I'm going to be going one of those ways. I'm leaning Zyhu. Zyhu. I'm going to go with Zyhu for RNG. The mid for RNG, I'm leaning him because he's the cheaper of the bunch, but you could really go either way. Twila and Betty are fine as well. It all comes down to if you like the other ADC options at the actual ADC position, or the mid options, all that. It really comes down to roster construction. It's a very important part of this, is making sure you got the right guys at the right spots, okay? Because one little change and you could have perfection. You feel what I'm saying? Or you could just settle on one way and you think that's the way, but really if you make a few adjustments, it ends up being the takedown lineup. That's how it could really be in this. So yeah, when it comes to captain, those are my 3. Betty, Twila, and then the RNG mid. I'm not even going to try to say his name again. I was about to try to say his name again, but I'm not. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and talk about top. All right. Now, you know what? Let's do the mains. Let's talk ADC and mid. All right. Those are the main positions you want to get right. Okay. With that said, Twila is my go-to at this position for DMO. Okay. Crying, came over to RNG. That's interesting. So we know how good he is. He will not be in this lineup, though. It's going to be Betty. Wait, sorry. Hold on. Let me check. Betty is at ADC. Yeah, so RNG will not be starting. He will not. Zihu will be starting, not Crying. But that is interesting that I did not notice that he was traded over here to RNG. So that's interesting. These lineups are definitely switching up a little bit. Anyway, so when it comes to ADC, obviously I already talked about loving Betty. Betty and Helper are the two guys that I'm really interested in. In GPPs, stacking, going OMG against RNG is definitely interesting. And I might have a few GPP lineups where I will do that. I'm not going to get cute and play V5 against DMO, but I am interested in possibly having a few lineups with OMG over RNG. So at mid, it's Twilla. He is my favorite guy. He is the guy. Zihu is another guy. So these two guys are my main guys, okay? Now at ADC, Helper is my go-to. You can do Betty. It just all comes down to roster construction completely. It really does, okay? It all comes down to roster constructions and where you end up going where. But Helper and Betty are the guys that you want at ADC. And then let's go ahead and talk about top real quick. All right. Now, at the top position, there's several ways you can go, okay? It's natural. It's new. I'm leaning new at 6'2". He seems too cheap, okay? At 6'2", he just seems too cheap. For the other team that I'm interested, like I said, I already told you guys I'm interested in getting exposure to RNG and then getting some exposure to DMO. When it comes to the top position, New is the guy that I'm leaning towards at only 6'2". He's fairly cheap. He's in my stack. He's just a solid option here against them. All right. And then that's about it. I mean, so really when it comes to, so I'm thinking Zihao at captain. Okay. It depends how you want to go, but I'm leaning Zihu at captain just for I need that few hundred with the roster constructions that I made so far. At AD carry, let's go ahead and do mid is Twilla for sure. And then, you know what? Let's end it with top is New. Okay? These are the guys. These are the core three that I will be building around. Like I said, DMO is my favorite stack, though. Just off price on this slate. Zihu at captain because he's cheaper than the other two, and I like all three about equally, Betty and Twilla and him. So I'm going to go Zihu. And then I like New the most at top, and then Twilla is my DMO guy that I love for them. And then, you know, you got Helper and Betty and all that good stuff. It's just all about putting the right guys around them to really end up going well. If you want to one-off and get like one OMG guy in cash, I think that's fine. In GPP, I am interested in making a few. Like I said, I will be making a few OMG lines paired up with DMO, but I will not be playing any V5 to win over DMO because that will not happen. Okay? So I will be going DMO, and then where you want to get slick at in GPP would be stacking OMG along with it. All right? And that's about it. We've been going for over 8 minutes. I don't know how I went over 8 minutes on a 2-game slate, but it is what it is. Thank you guys for joining me as always. GreenlightDFS.com, man. Let's keep this streak going. Number 2 of the season. Let's go ahead and get our second win of the season. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'm out. Peace.